believe in systems, believe in simplicity, believe in organic growth, things will come sooner than you think. In your customer buying journey, let's say they start their journey from the LinkedIn. When they land on your page, do they feel like spending time on your page? Do they feel like leaving their contact details on your page? Just put yourself in the shoes of a potential buyer. Put into place a system that is reliable, that is repeatable, that will get you recurrent revenue. I guess this is a short video to show you how you can increase your sales without breaking the bank as an IT consultant, you're a founder, you've got an MSP. The process that I'm going to show you and I'm going to break down is simple and can be used by all. So please keep away all those bad feelings and bad memories that you may have regarding the individuals that you may have approached that have promised you leads and that have actually born to no fruition at all, right? Please stick with me and I'll try and show you a simple process that again, anyone can use. Now, what I want to let you know, and you probably know it deep down, is that a lot of founders, MSP, IT consultants, they like to start sometimes with that, hey, how am I going to have and organize my, let's say, help desk? How am I gonna think about marketing? How am I going to make sure that I've got X and Y, Z tech stack? But at the end of the day, the most important really is the question about sales that you need to answer. What is it that you're going to do in order to make sure that you stay alive? Because sales is going to be your lifeblood, right? So that's why I want to break down a very simple process. We're not talking about any rocket science. We're talking about really simple steps that are inexpensive and sometimes free, right? So basically, first of all, what I want to tell you, you need to meet your customers where they are. We're not talking about BNIs, we're not talking about the Chamber of Commerce, we're not talking about all the networking places and groups that exist on this planet Earth. We're talking about organic growth that can exist from the comfort of your own home. And what I want to talk about today is LinkedIn. It's highly likely that a lot of your prospects and customers are actually on there. We're talking about 1 billion individuals. So I would be very surprised that they're not. And maybe you're working with private companies, then this video is definitely worth having a look. So meet your customers where they are, i.e. LinkedIn, for instance. What you need to do is to attract them, right? You need to attract your customers. What does it take to attract your customers on LinkedIn? Well, be presentable enough on LinkedIn. Simple as, no rocket science once again. I'm not telling you anything that's probably new, but yet it's not done enough. What is your LinkedIn profile looking like? When I click on your profile link, what is the banner looking like, right? Is it a compelling banner that leads me to spend more time on the profile? What is your title looking like, right? What is your About Us section looking like? Is it a section about what you've achieved in the past? Or is it targeted, directed at your ideal client, right? That is a question that you need to answer. So the first step is attract ideal client. So when we talk about, for instance, the About Us section, it needs to talk about your ideal client. And if you've not figured out who your ideal client is, then so be it. But there has to be some characteristics in your existing customer base or the people you've served in the recent past so that there's a pattern that you can talk about, right? And even if, let's say, you're only serving small and medium businesses, then that's what you need to talk about. You may say that, hey, well, I am XYZ, I'm serving or helping SMEs staying trouble-free from IT issues. Well, please don't phrase it in a very attractive way, not what I've just said. But you can say that, for instance, and I only deal with customers that are within 25 miles of X and YZ area, right? So that you can make sure that obviously you can support them at any time there's a production down situation or there's something urgent, right? You can be in person, and that's something that a lot of customers appreciate, right? So it needs to be detailed on your LinkedIn so that you've got the right eyeballs that stay on your profile and that gets interested in you, right? The other thing that a lot of us are kind of not too comfortable with is growing our LinkedIn network, right? Adding strangers. And you shouldn't be stressed about it. It should be a very simple process, right? It shouldn't be about like, hey, selling something. It should more be about what is it that you can offer, what value, right? So if, for instance, you were to add someone that is within your area as an SME, let's say, hypothetically, and you want to add a stranger, you could tell them a very simple message such as, hey, I'm an IT support service company, my name is X, and all I'm trying to do is to connect with people who are in my area and give them tips about how to run an IT infrastructure free from cyber attacks. Something along those lines, right? Well, you do it 5 times every day, and it's highly likely that a lot of them will connect, right? A lot of them will be curious about your content. A lot of them will be interested in what you have to offer in terms of value, and that could be the start of great relationships. So optimize your LinkedIn, add people, and start to build your empire. But at first, start with the attraction piece. Then once you've attracted them, what you want to do is to convert. You need to convert your audience. It's worse than a 3-year-old, but this is what you get when you're dealing with me. So, what does it take to convert your audience, right? So, you've got the things that maybe are paid for, right? You know, paid advertising, you've got the SEOs, etc. But if you're looking at your website, what does it look like? When you're thinking about your customer buying journey, let's say they start their journey from the LinkedIn. When they land on your page, do they feel like spending time on your page? Do they feel like leaving their contact details on your page? It's something that you need to ask yourself, right? What is the value that you offer on your website? Do you have like some kind of a lead magnet maybe? You know, a document, a PDF? Let's say you're working in the legal sector. Do you have a document that could be entitled, hey, 5 ways to make sure that your IT infrastructure is trouble-free? That could be of interest maybe to the target audience that you have, right? So that's lead magnet, right? Or, you know, maybe you've got a customer form to fill in, right? Is the beginning of the conversion process. If you're struggling to put up a website, then you can always go on platforms such as freelancer.com, upwork.com, etc. to find someone that can do a decent job for you. So just put yourself in the shoes of a potential buyer, right? And start with attracting, then converting them on your, for instance, website. Before you close them, right? Which is the third step. That's when the piggy bank makes noise, guys. And it's kind of very, very, very important. It's kind of crucial, right? That's where we all want to be at some point, isn't it? There are not like 10,000 ways to close a customer. Sometimes, depending on the size of your company, you may do it as well over a chat and a coffee if they're in the area. If you're talking about maybe larger companies, larger deal sizes, then it may not take like 15 to 30 minutes. It may take maybe 6 months, 12 months, I don't know. It just depends. But the idea is that you know that there's that step and that it may take different time lengths. That's it. Now, regarding the critical stage, regarding this, what makes this step a bit easier is if you've got plenty of stories to tell, right? If you've got a few case studies, essentially, right, that can help out, that would be very much appreciated. And most often, when you get there, it's an opportunity for your prospect to make conclusions by themselves because they've got a lot of information. You've helped them throughout the whole process, and they should feel at the critical point where they are armed. They've got the arsenal, let's say, of information to basically pull the trigger. Sorry for the cheesy analogy, but it is what it is. What I'm trying to say is that it shouldn't be anything that has to be pushy. Now, if you got into the account just because, for instance, you had the opportunity to fix a laptop, right? To fix a firewall in the infrastructure, then, you know, that was your way in, and then you grow the account. You grew the account, that's fantastic. But let's say you didn't have that opportunity and you need to start from a different angle, then educating and making sure that all the steps above are covered is of crucial importance, right? Prospects need to self-persuade themselves, right? Because again, they like to make their own decisions. So if they need to self-persuade themselves, you need to ask questions such as, hey, do you feel that what we've covered, for instance, is aligned with your objectives? Regarding outcome X that you mentioned, right? You mentioned that you wanted to have new equipment, but that it could be premature, and you understood that unfortunately, should you stick to your current tools, there may be vulnerabilities that may not help you in the longer run because you may suffer from X amount of attacks. A bit long-winded, but what I'm trying to say is that you want to put the power in your prospect's hands by asking questions that lead the person to actually say to themselves, okay, well, it makes sense. This guy is obviously trying to help me with the outcome that I want to get to. So I believe that this guy who is you is worth working with, right? But that needs to be done by him with your support. So closing is more of a process whereby you're helping and leading your prospect towards the right conclusions, which is to work with you, as opposed to telling them that, hey, you need to change this in your network. You need to make sure that you're ordering from X and Y vendor, right? Because your company is regulated by the FCA, you need to make sure that you have all these cyber security protocols in place. You need to discuss this and that. This, although you know what's best for your client, they need to come to the right conclusion. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope that makes it quite clear. And last but not least, from the attraction to the conversion to the close, we need to retain those customers. They need to stay with us. So you've closed your customer. Happy days, they paid, happy days. Now it's a case of understanding how long is the relationship going to last. Could last forever, could last for a lifetime. We've got a lot of MSPs that support service companies that have clients, that have had clients for 5, 10, X amount of years. Some of the MSPs that have like government contracts, right? But at the end of the day, what's key to retention is to gain the trust of your customer and being able to grow their accounts. What I'll also add is you need to understand which customers are of high value to you and which customers are low value to you. Is a customer a penny pincher, always, calling you, they're not paying much, right? But they're always calling you at very uncomfortable time, and you need to always be their Batman without feeling that there's much gratitude, right? These are some things that you need to think about versus having a high value client that maybe, pays on time, a high value client that keeps on asking for your services and pays more willingly. They're not a headache. They always take on board your advice. They respect you as an individual. A lot boils down to also, your mission statement, your company values, etc. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you've got you keep those customers that pay a lot, right? And that want to stick with you. And you want to make sure also that at some point, which is for maybe, not the vast majority, but for that small percentage that is difficult to deal with, maybe you need to consider alternatives. Maybe you should recommend them to other MSPs, or maybe, to other companies, or you may also wish to offboard them and say, well, thank you, we've done our best, but unfortunately, it's not worked out on this occasion. What I'm trying to say at the end is that you should keep your sales process very simple. One of the reflexes could be to spend tons of money with little in return, spend envelopes of X amount of dollars or pounds, wherever you are in the world. But in the UK, it's quite easy to have a team with a sales director, with business development managers, and have a bill of 300 to 400k without necessarily seeing the returns, aside from some of the low hanging fruits, right, in the longer run. So every sales process should start with the founder first, obviously, as you know, but also it should be a habit, right? You should put into place a system that is reliable, that is repeatable, that will get you recurrent revenue and will help you picture your ideal destination. Whether you want to, sell at X millions of pounds, dollars, whatever currency you're using is really down to you. But believe in systems, believe in simplicity, believe in organic growth, and things will come sooner than you think. They will materialize. All right? Take care and see you on the next video. Take